A wide view of a peaceful city shows a serene landscape under a blue sky. With homes and streets nestled between mountains, life seems calm and untouched. The text reveals this moment took place 249 years ago, setting the stage for a historical shift about to unfold. Citizens are seen walking the streets in warm clothing, enjoying daily life with no clue of the catastrophe looming above them. A girl glances up, eyes wide with shock, as the sky begins to tear. Her expression captures the sudden realization of an otherworldly event. A massive dimensional gate opens in the heavens, and terrifying creatures begin to descend. These beings, later known as demons, rain down from the sky, signaling the start of a dark era. The demons wasted no time after their arrival. They immediately declared war on humanity, plunging the world into chaos and bloodshed without warning. As monstrous beings rampaged through human settlements, the demons' invasion officially began, catching mankind unprepared and forcing a desperate response. In reaction to the threat, the Justice Alliance swiftly formed the demon-suppressing heavenly army and declared a crusade. But just 3 days into their mission, they clashed with a demon unit in Anhui and were completely wiped out. The Justice Orthodox and Unorthodox martial world united their forces in a final desperate effort. Together, they launched the last resistance battle in Sichuan, facing the demonic tide with unmatched resolve. Fierce battles broke out as the resistance army clashed with the overwhelming demon forces. Swords and martial arts collided with arcane terror, shaking the battlefield with chaos and despair. Despite their determination, the resistance only lasted half a month. The overwhelming power of the demons crushed their defense, and the unified army slowly crumbled. 90% of the resistance fighters were killed. Corpses piled up across battlefields, marking the complete collapse of the Central Plains martial world. Those who managed to survive were captured, shackled, and dragged mercilessly into the demon realm. Their defeat was absolute, leaving no room for escape or salvation. The narrator reveals that he, too, was among the captured. His fate intertwined with the fall of humanity, and like the others, he was taken beyond the human world. 5 years pass. In a distant and horrifying place, a dark ritual or experimentation is shown, hinting at the terrible experiences endured by those who were taken. Born without the ability to use inner energy, the narrator was deemed a rare anomaly. Rather than being discarded, he was classified as a valuable specimen for experimentation. His body was subjected to endless biological modifications and mental reprogramming. Through this process, he was forged into a soldier of the demon realm's suppression force, stripped of autonomy and humanity. Over the following decades, he executed mission after mission. Sent to other dimensions, his task was to slaughter and subjugate, leaving countless civilizations in ruin under the demon realm's will. Haunted by bloodshed, he became a machine of war. Killing became his sole existence, no hesitation, no mercy, only death left in his path. 75 years into his servitude, his relentless efficiency and obedience were acknowledged. As a reward, he was promoted to the rank of Demon Corps Commander, rising in the hierarchy of terror. After 120 more years of devastation, he stands as a transformed being. His appearance monstrous, his humanity erased, and his purpose twisted by centuries of manipulation and violence. A former Demon Corps commander, now weary and battle-worn, stands solemnly as he recalls the turning point in his fate. After lifetimes of servitude, something greater began to stir within him. He discovered a mysterious existence, an eye that symbolized escape or transcendence. For decades, he researched obsessively, determined to learn how to reach it and what it meant for his destiny. After another 65 years of study and secret planning, he finally initiated the rebellion he had been preparing in the shadows, a daring uprising against the very realm that had enslaved him. A single week into the rebellion, chaos engulfed the demon strongholds. Fire and war erupted across the city, catching the demon realm off guard as his plan began to unfold. In the present day, the aftermath of battle lies all around. The once dominant city lies in ruin, corpses scattered, and silence replacing centuries of command and control. Bloodied and barely clinging to life, the man coughs and gasps on the battlefield. Yet even as his body falters, the spark in his eye shows he hasn't given up just yet. A towering flame-cloaked figure Tarante, the Demon King, looms before the fallen warrior, radiating overwhelming dominance. The battlefield burns under his aura, signaling the rebellion's brutal conclusion. The man acknowledges in silence, the rebellion has failed. His years of planning and sacrifice lie in ashes, crushed beneath the might of a force he couldn't defeat. With a condescending tone, Tarante calls the effort disappointing. He mocks the warrior's desperation, noting how he gave everything and still couldn't change his fate. Tarante speaks again, now addressing the man by name Shur von Gretel, as though savoring his humiliation. Shur, bloodied and kneeling, clenches his fists and mutters defiantly. He refuses to let everything end like this, clinging to one final hope. Mustering his last ounce of strength, Shur cries out a command, "King's Gate," invoking something dangerous, perhaps forbidden. The Demon King's eyes narrow. He realizes too late what Shur is doing. "I can feel it, forbidden," he growls, his tone shifting from mockery to alarm. The warrior grits his teeth, sweat dripping as he struggles to activate the forbidden technique. His body is on the verge of collapse, but his will remains unbroken. The Demon King mocks him coldly, noting how his enemies often tap into forbidden powers when they're desperate, claiming it's a common move from the weak. With condescension, the king declares that no miracle or shortcut can overcome their vast difference in strength. The gap is simply too great. Shur lifts his gaze with trembling breath, confronting the impossible. Despite his exhaustion, he questions the king's certainty. His tone shifts from desperation to calm defiance. He turns his back, stepping forward with quiet determination. Even in defeat, he declares that he's not finished, that he still has something left to do. The Demon King, unimpressed, growls that this insolence has lasted long enough. Flames rise around him as he declares this is the end of Shur's defiance. Shur drops to his knees, barely conscious. Yet even now, he clings to resolve. In his mind, he sees a woman and a child and whispers with finality, "I will not die by your hand." Shur gathers his final ounce of strength, blood dripping from his wounds, and lets out a defiant roar as he rises to his feet. His eyes blaze with desperation and determination. The Demon King's expression shifts in surprise. He senses something unusual awakening within Shur, a presence or power that wasn't there before. Shur screams in agony as a torrent of raw energy bursts from his body, causing visible cracks to spread across his skin as if something unnatural is erupting from within. A massive surge of light explodes upward, forming a towering pillar of violet energy. The air ripples violently, and mystical symbols begin spiraling into the sky. The energy condenses into rings of arcane force, locking into place as if triggering an ancient forbidden technique. The light intensifies and distorts the surroundings. Shur, engulfed in this beam of blinding energy, launches himself forward toward the Demon King. The force of the magic distorts space as he accelerates with unstoppable momentum. The Demon King gazes at Shur with an amused expression, calling his transformation temporal regression. He recognizes the chaotic power now coursing through Shur's body, a combination of ancient evil and forbidden might. It surprises even him, as this power isn't something that should exist in any mortal vessel. Shur's body glows with intense violet light as the arcane energy settles around him. His ragged breath and battered form pulse with dark energy. The Demon King now understands that every act of pain, every moment of suffering Shur endured over the years was part of this build-up and unstoppable plan to unleash forbidden magic. Driven by hatred and bloodlust, Shur shouts with fierce determination. He promises the Demon King that next time, he will be strong enough to kill him for sure. This is not just rage, but a vow born from decades of agony and humiliation. Shure's eye glows red with wrath, and he swears vengeance on every last demon. He proclaims that he will destroy every demon, no matter how long it takes. His voice shakes with fury, his will unbreakable as he marks every demon for death. The Demon King lets out a chilling laugh in response to Shure's threats. Rather than fear, he shows excitement and anticipation. With a devilish grin, he tells Shure he'll be looking forward to their next encounter, fueling the fire for their inevitable clash. The Demon King's words echo as he acknowledges the human he once respected. As the final blast of violet energy shoots upward, the heavens seem to respond. This power is no ordinary spell, it's a dimensional transition, and it tears open space as Shure's body is cast out of the demon realm. A dazzling pillar of violet lightning crashes into the skies of another world. The heavens rumble as a celestial crack splits open above the central plane's martial world, indicating that a foreign force has crossed the threshold between realms. It's an unnatural storm, signaling the arrival of something far beyond comprehension. From afar, the central plane's vast martial cities remain still under the night sky. But within moments, lightning strikes down through one of the cities, alarming those with sharp senses. The world below has not yet realized what is coming, but nature reacts first. The bolt lands with precision, hitting a secluded rooftop. Purple mist swirls and the very tiles crack under its weight. It's not destruction, but a powerful entry, the force of someone falling from the heavens, bound by purpose and rebirth. In the aftermath of the impact, a body lies motionless amid rubble and smoke. Shure has arrived. His battered form is barely conscious, but the journey through time and space has brought him back to a world unaware of what looms ahead. As he opens his eyes slowly, narration states what's to come. From this moment forward, time will no longer flow peacefully. The countdown has begun. This world has now entered the brief calm before a devastating storm. Shure's eye glows faintly as he awakens. His gaze is sharper than before, haunted yet focused. The second chance has begun, and his mission is clear: prepare this world before the demon invasion begins anew. The passage of 10 years is announced, setting a significant time leap since the events of the demon invasion and Shure's return. This suggests a buildup of time where preparations or consequences have unfolded unseen, and the calm might only be surface deep. The next scene opens in the vibrant and orderly Dragon Spring Pavilion, a martial sect filled with traditional architecture and a serene atmosphere. It appears peaceful, almost disconnected from the looming threat hinted at before, showcasing a world that has seemingly returned to normalcy or ignorance. A group of workers is shown hammering tiles on a rooftop, engaging in everyday repairs. Their conversation is casual, grounded in routine, which further emphasizes how unaware or unconcerned most people are about what might be coming. One of the workers expresses doubt about the sturdiness of the roof, noting that it looks as if it had been broken once before. His words carry double meaning for readers aware of the earlier impact. This spot was likely where Shure fell a decade ago, masked now by mundane repairs. Another worker tries to brush off the concern, saying that they patched it up nicely. He seems more interested in completing the job than investigating the unusual damage, showing how easy it is for significant events to be buried under daily life. Finally, the older man adds a reflective remark, noting that it's been 10 years since that strange event happened. His tone suggests he hasn't forgotten the mystery entirely, but with time, even strange occurrences fade from urgency until they resurface again. This sets up the tension that the past might soon return to disrupt the peace. The image opens with a wide shot of a grand martial arena where spectators and disciples of the Dragon Spring Pavilion have gathered. The narrator announces that today marks the beginning of the competition that will determine the next pavilion master, an event of great prestige and importance in their sex hierarchy. From the raised platform, an elder formally declares the commencement of the official sparring match, signaling the crowd to settle in. There's an air of seriousness and anticipation, as this is not just a friendly duel, but a decisive battle for leadership. The announcement continues with the full title: This match will decide the successor to the Dragon Spring Pavilion's master seat. The phrase is met with loud cheers from the spectators, showing just how momentous this day is for the sect and its future. As the crowd watches, Kang Sabai walks into the arena with composed determination. His entrance is solemn yet confident, and his appearance suggests he is a prime candidate and a well-known figure among the members. A second fighter steps forward to challenge for the same position, identified as one of the most powerful senior disciples. His muscular frame and strong stance emphasize that this duel will be fierce and evenly matched. Both contenders take their places in the dueling zone. The scene is now set. The strongest disciples of the sect are about to battle for the right to become the pavilion master. The pressure is intense, and all eyes are locked on what's to come. The announcer declares the terms of the duel. Both fighters must engage without stepping out of the arena's boundaries. The rules are meant to keep the fight controlled and intense, emphasizing technique, discipline, and precision under pressure. A wide view of the arena shows the two combatants preparing for battle while the audience watches in silent anticipation. The gravity of the duel is reflected in the calm before the storm, with both warriors mentally preparing themselves. The senior disciple holding a massive spear chuckles and taunts his opponent, mocking the fact that Kang Sabai actually returned to challenge for the title. His smirk and sarcasm suggest he views Kang as someone beneath him, perhaps a once disgraced or underestimated rival. As he twirls his weapon confidently, the burly fighter boasts about his expectations to face someone more worthy. His arrogant demeanor fuels the tension, and he makes it clear he doesn't consider Kang Sabai a threat, despite their shared goal. The man scoffs again and swings his weapon dramatically, dismissing Kang as nothing more than a disgrace. His anger seems to mask deeper insecurities as he aggressively asserts dominance in front of the audience. Kang Sabai calmly reflects on his past, recalling a time when he was a martial arts instructor and largely ignored by others. Despite his previously weak condition, he notes how people still remember and recognize him now, hinting at how far he's come and foreshadowing that he won't be underestimated anymore. The narration reflects on the protagonist's darkest times. He was once a failure, mocked and abandoned, having fallen from grace in the martial world. The shadows and tone suggest those days left deep scars that still affect him now. We see a visual flashback of the burly warrior taunting him, as Kang Sabai had once been dismissed publicly in front of his peers. The imagery of him turning away in shame contrasts heavily with the confident figure he has become now. Another memory surfaces. Kang Sabai was stripped of his position and title, labeled a disgrace, and seen as unworthy to teach martial arts. This moment cemented his fall and gave rise to years of pain and humiliation. As these bitter memories resurface, Kang's expression grows firm and cold. He acknowledges that those truly were the worst days of his life, revealing that his journey back to the stage was born from these very low points. The muscular opponent appears confused by Kang's silence, unable to understand the emotional weight of the moment. Meanwhile, Kang slowly steps forward with resolve, signaling the beginning of a long-awaited confrontation. With a fire in his eyes and calm fury in his voice, Kang declares that he's been waiting for this fight for a long time. His tone drips with vengeance and purpose as he insults the man who once looked down on him, calling him ugly bastard. The opponent snaps with rage, calling Kang an insolent brat for daring to speak so boldly. He lashes out, proclaiming he'll punish Kang severely, both for his disrespect and for daring to rise again despite once being thrown out as a disgrace. The furious warrior lunges forward, yelling that his opponent will pay for his insolent mouth. A crimson aura erupts around his weapon as he activates a powerful martial technique, Divine Spear. Bull Demon Thrust, signaling a deadly, straight-line attack infused with destructive energy. His face distorts with savage intensity as his eyes glow a demonic red, veins bulging with force. Every muscle in his body is focused on delivering the devastating move, showcasing his violent nature and complete lack of restraint as he channels the technique to its peak. The spear slashes downward with overwhelming force, now transitioning into second form, Bull Demon Slash. A spiraling wave of power follows the swing, and the narration intensifies the moment by highlighting the sensation of the spear making contact, implying a brutal and potentially fatal strike. The fierce warrior, who moments ago charged with absolute confidence, freezes mid-swing. His pupils shrink and a cold sweat forms on his brow. His opponent has vanished. The sheer disbelief etched on his face tells a story of someone who had anticipated an easy clash, only to be met with something completely outside his expectations. Frantically, he jerks his head from side to side, trying to scan the battlefield. His body tenses, his stance uncertain. A burst of wind rushes past him, and his mind reels. There was no movement, no footsteps, nothing to track. "He's gone," he exclaims, voice trembling not from fear, but from sheer confusion and building frustration. As silence blankets the area, his foe finally steps into view, unbothered, relaxed even. Standing just a few feet away, he places a hand on the hilt of his sword as if to say, "I've been here all along." The contrast between the two couldn't be starker, one rattled and wide-eyed, the other composed and unreadable. But the enraged warrior refuses to back down. With gritted teeth, he roars that he doesn't care where the other hides. His pride won't let him retreat. Swinging his weapon with raw strength, he slices through the air, creating a crimson arc of power, but once again, he hits nothing. The momentum of his missed strike throws his body slightly off balance. As he turns to recover, he starts to realize something isn't right. There's a cold breath down his neck, the kind that only appears when someone's already behind you. His instinct screams he's being toyed with. A sudden chill runs through him as he realizes just how outclassed he is. "This doesn't make any sense," he mutters to himself, as flashes of the earlier exchange replay in his mind. "When did he get behind me? I couldn't see a damn thing." For the first time, doubt replaces rage in his eyes. Then, like a phantom, his opponent calmly reveals himself again, expression steady, posture unshaken. He remarks coldly, almost mockingly, "You're too slow." The words sting more than any blade, and as he adds that such sluggish attacks won't ever work against him, it becomes painfully clear. This isn't a duel, it's a lesson. The older warrior grits his teeth and snarls in frustration, refusing to admit his opponent's superiority. He tries to rationalize the last exchange, convincing himself it was pure luck. His pride won't let him accept that the boy might be stronger or faster, so he prepares to retaliate with all he's got. Channeling his fury into action, he stomps forward with crushing force, cracking the ground beneath him. Dust and debris shoot into the air as the sheer weight of his movement sends tremors across the arena. It's a display of raw physical power, aimed to intimidate and overwhelm. His body launches skyward in a single, thunderous motion, spear raised above his head. His silhouette eclipses the sun, forming a fearsome shadow over his opponent. The height and momentum of the jump signal his intention. This isn't a strike for control or dominance. It's an execution attempt. With a frenzied glare and red aura pulsing around him, he lets out a guttural war cry midair. His voice shakes with emotion, rage, desperation, and unrelenting hatred. He activates the next level of his technique, declaring the bull demon divine spear fourth form, channeling every ounce of his strength into this single blow. Descending like a meteor, he unleashes the falling bull spear, his spear crackling with vicious red energy. The entire battlefield watches in stunned silence as the sheer force of his attack seems poised to obliterate anything in its path. This is his ultimate card, a make-or-break moment fueled by his boiling pride. Meanwhile, the younger fighter narrows his eyes, calm and unreadable. He doesn't flinch or react wildly. Instead, he studies his opponent's descent with chilling focus. It's clear he's not underestimating the power coming his way, but neither does he appear afraid of it. Quietly, he adjusts his grip on his blade, entering a smooth stance. Energy begins to swirl around him like the eye of a storm. In that instant, his body radiates precision and deadly intent. The scene shifts. He's not going to dodge. He's going to counter. And whatever happens next, it'll decide everything. The young warrior remains poised, blade lowered yet eyes sharp with anticipation. His calm demeanor radiates unshakable confidence, making it clear he is prepared to respond to whatever attack comes next. The battlefield air crackles with tension as the crowd watches, breath held. The older fighter bursts into manic laughter, mocking his opponent with wild eyes and crazed intensity. He jeers at the idea that such a pathetic spear play could ever stop him, revealing both his arrogance and growing desperation. His madness is now matched by his ferocity. With a sudden motion, he gathers energy in his palm, summoning a ball of blazing flame. The glowing fireball pulses with destructive heat, illuminating his face with a molten hue. This is no ordinary attack. He's breaking the rules, resorting to forbidden techniques. Surprised and caught off guard, the young man's eyes widen as he sees the fireball manifest. The expression on his face is a mix of alarm and realization. This wasn't part of the official duel's conditions, and yet the man's madness has pushed him beyond restraint. The fireball erupts in a devastating blast as the older warrior hurls it with full force. Flames explode outward in a fiery sphere, engulfing part of the arena. The sheer intensity of the magical attack sends shockwaves across the ground, with onlookers recoiling at the impact. Spectators from the stands watch in stunned silence, expressions frozen between horror and disbelief. One man gasps with a clenched jaw, while another leans forward, eyes wide. The fireball wasn't just unexpected, it's a blatant breach of honor, and they all know something unforgivable has occurred. The spectators in the stands are thrown into chaos as flames erupt before their eyes. Fear spreads across their faces, with one child screaming and adults shielding themselves. The unexpected fire attack sends waves of panic through the audience, shattering any sense of order or fairness. Amidst the blazing inferno, one onlooker cries out in terror, shouting "Fire!" while watching a figure engulfed in the flames. The overwhelming heat and visual shock leave the crowd paralyzed, the atmosphere no longer one of a martial arts match, but of raw destruction. An official standing in the judge's box, shaken and unsure, quickly declares the match over. His voice trembles, not out of relief but sheer disbelief. This wasn't supposed to happen. An official duel turned into a public endangerment incident. Raising his weapon triumphantly, the older man named Hang Gabai is declared the winner. Despite his brutal and dishonorable tactics, his arm stretches skyward as if basking in glory. The announcer's words ring hollow against the backdrop of scorched earth and murmurs of discontent. As flames and darkness surround the young warrior's past memory, a narration reveals that he had once been captured by demons during their invasion of the martial world. His body appears battered and chained, a testament to the unspeakable torment he endured while surviving in hellish conditions. Dragged into the heart of the demon realm, the warrior faced a seemingly endless struggle. Among vicious creatures and unrelenting battles, he not only fought for survival, but also began to uncover something deeper. A realization and incredible truth began to emerge from the crucible of pain and perseverance. The scorched opponent lies collapsed on the shattered tiles, clearly defeated. The victorious young man smugly looks down at him, confidently taunting. "So, how's that for the power of my heat-cultivating technique?" His words carry both sarcasm and pride, as the crowd begins to process that what they witnessed wasn't mere brute strength, but something more advanced and calculated. The narration shifts focus to the deeper truth behind the flashy attack. It reveals that what appears to be martial arts is, in fact, highly developed magic. The technique called fireball, masked as a martial art, is indistinguishable from traditional combat. With a sly grin and folded arms, the victor stands tall, fully aware that his mastery of magic disguised as martial prowess sets him apart from the rest. The injured instructor lies unconscious on the ground, surrounded by cracked tiles and the remnants of a fierce battle. His body is scorched, his limbs limp, and the battle's victor stands tall, a clear gap in strength now visible. Two examiners rush toward the fallen man, concerned but relieved to find him alive. Their expressions show a mix of disbelief and apprehension, stunned by how decisively the match ended. The crowd is abuzz with mixed reactions: shock, awe, and confusion. One man steps forward, questioning whether what they just witnessed was truly martial arts, suggesting there may have been magic involved. Among the crowd, a furious man clenches his jaw and growls about how unacceptable the defeat was. His pride as a martial instructor has been wounded, and he can't hide his seething anger. As the dust settles, the victorious youth walks away calmly, his weapon sheathed. Everyone parts to make room for him, their gazes fixed in silent fear or amazement, unsure how to classify what they've seen. Two senior instructors stand back, reflecting on the match. One admits that although the duel followed the rules, the destructive power on display is beyond what they expected, and possibly beyond what should be allowed. One of the elders recalls a previous encounter with a young man. He silently acknowledges that even back then, there was something different about him, something ominous and untamed. A flashback reveals the young man in his childhood, already training intensely. He is shown manipulating spiritual energy or mana, channeling raw force with ease while elders observe with stunned expressions. The young man concludes his thoughts in the present, calmly stating that his technique, though resembling magic, is merely martial arts at its peak. His confident tone and serene expression contrast with the lingering unease among the instructors and crowd. An enraged instructor clenches his fist and shouts furiously, accusing the young man of insulting the academy and mocking its traditions. His pride has clearly taken a blow, and his temper is reaching its limit. The young man responds calmly, stating that whether he intended to or not, the outcome remains the same. He subtly implies that the academy's rules may not be as solid or justified as they think. He then turns his back and walks away casually, pointing out that despite the outcry, no one interfered during the match. His composed posture contrasts sharply with the heated emotions around him. With a confident smirk, he calls out the hypocrisy of the senior instructors. He emphasizes that if they had truly thought his methods were inappropriate, they would have stopped him then and there. His next line cuts deeper. He challenges them by asking whether they fear him or the truth behind his strength. His words expose the silent hesitation among the staff to confront him directly. One instructor, furious and flustered, demands a formal disciplinary session to deal with the young man's defiance. His order is meant to reassert authority, but it feels reactionary and forced. Before things escalate further, another senior raises his hand and interjects, politely asking to speak. His timing and tone show that he wants to de-escalate the situation with reason. He proposes that since tensions are clearly rising and both sides seem ready to clash, the best solution is a more controlled and official combat event, something that can be handled through a formal system. His calm logic offers a path forward. A calm instructor steps forward and suggests resolving the matter through an official duel in accordance with academy rules. His statement brings a sense of order to the growing conflict, offering a way to settle things formally. The young man acknowledges the suggestion with confidence. Without hesitation, he accepts the duel, folding his arms and standing tall with a smirk that hints at his certainty of victory. As the duel is approved, a formal banner appears to mark the official match. It signifies that the academy has accepted the young man's challenge, turning this heated exchange into a sanctioned battle. Two opponents from the academy step up, looking uneasy as they prepare to face him. Their body language shows reluctance and apprehension, realizing they're up against someone far above their level. The young man strolls forward confidently while the others nervously watch him. His strides are calm and deliberate, while whispers ripple through the crowd as they begin to recognize his strength. He throws a quick glance over his shoulder at his challengers with a confident smirk. In the next moment, the scenery transitions to the Dragon Spring Pavilion, where he walks alone, signifying a shift in the setting and perhaps his next goal or destination. The narration introduces the Academy's tradition. Every student, once admitted, is given one opportunity to select a martial technique to learn, reinforcing the value and importance of this moment. A flashback shows a student training in fierce combat, illustrating the intense pressure to choose a skill that could shape one's entire future in martial arts. The stakes are high, and the environment is relentless. We see several students standing together, seemingly having already selected their techniques. Their composed posture suggests they've completed this rite of passage and are watching to see who enters next. The young man enters the grand hall filled with martial scrolls. His footsteps echo as he confidently approaches the shelves, implying he's about to make a very bold or unusual decision. Without hesitation, he reaches for a scroll and opens the door with authority, drawing immediate attention from a senior who had been overseeing the process. The elder seems surprised by this sudden action. A wide shot reveals the young man standing before the senior instructor, who sternly questions his choice, clearly concerned or puzzled by the unorthodox move. The elder named Instructor Jameek demands an explanation, his expression mixed with disbelief and suspicion. He emphasizes the seriousness of the rules regarding technique selection. The young man responds calmly, claiming he merely picked what he was most suited for. Instructor Jameek erupts in anger, calling it nonsense and accusing him of twisting the system for his gain. The instructor angrily holds up the selected scroll, exclaiming that it's forbidden and was never meant to be accessed by students. His body language and expression make it clear this is a serious breach of rules. The protagonist stands calmly in the middle of the room, silent but unmoved by the instructor's outrage. His stillness contrasts the escalating tension in the room, adding to the weight of his presence. A close-up of his eye shows deep focus as he internally acknowledges the name of the technique, one that holds powerful emotional value for him. His seriousness hints at a personal reason behind the selection. The instructor questions the boy's motive, asking if he even knows the origin of the scroll and the consequences tied to it. His voice is full of concern and disbelief, trying to make sense of this audacious choice. Suddenly, the instructor shifts into reflection. He begins to explain that the technique was created by someone dear to him, a person who was like family and more valuable than even his own blood relatives. Tears well up in his eyes as he shares how the person who developed the technique disappeared long ago and was never heard from again. His grief pours out, revealing an emotional scar that's still fresh. The protagonist watches quietly, his gaze softening as he realizes the depth of pain tied to this martial art. Despite everything, he remains respectful but firm in his decision. A glowing narration overlays the scene, revealing that the person who created the scroll was once more precious to the instructor than even his parents, suggesting a profound bond or mentorship between them. We flash back to a fiery memory of the creator, a woman being protected in the midst of chaos, carrying the very scroll. She entrusted it to the instructor, asking him to keep it safe. He finishes by reaffirming the importance of that promise, his voice trembling with emotion. The instructor grips the protagonist's wrist firmly, declaring with determination that he won't allow the situation to spiral out of control. His grip and expression reflect a deep desire to protect both the boy and the academy from danger. The elder, stunned by the protagonist's unwavering attitude, goes silent. His face shows traces of inner conflict, unable to find the words to oppose someone so resolute and sincere. The protagonist lowers his head slightly and softly pleads for trust. With eyes full of resolve, he assures the elder that he will personally take responsibility and fix all the problems no matter what they are. As night falls, a panoramic view of the darkened academy glows faintly under the moonlight. The atmosphere is calm, contrasting the tense energy building up for what's to come. Inside a quiet room, the protagonist prepares for his mission. He raises his hand, which begins to glow with intense blue energy, signaling the start of his training or ritual. As the aura intensifies, he forms a complex magical formation in mid-air using precise control. His shirtless form, now surrounded by glowing energy, shows his total commitment to mastering this dangerous power. A narration overlays his focused expression, stating that he must completely learn this forbidden martial art before the selection exam arrives. There is no time to waste, and no room for failure. A vivid flashback or vision appears, showing a terrifying figure with dark energy and red eyes. This enemy looms like a shadow of death, representing the threat the protagonist is preparing to face. The protagonist quietly reaffirms his resolve. Even against a fearsome enemy like this, he's determined to face it head-on and win. His final word, "yeah," echoes like a solemn vow in the night. The image opens with the protagonist's intense eye peeking through a shadowed veil, suggesting that he is awakening or re-emerging from a long slumber. His gaze is sharp, full of suppressed power and a foreboding presence, hinting at a return from a dark place. A powerful declaration is made, "I have returned." Visions of a muscular, scarred warrior, monstrous creatures, and an infernal ritualistic chamber flash across the screen. These fragmented memories reveal the unspeakable horrors and chaos the protagonist endured in some otherworldly realm. An enormous eye, burning with surreal energy, looms across the background. The narration says he came from within that hell, implying he escaped a dimension filled with madness, torment, and monsters one few could survive, let alone return from. Inside this hellscape, we see twisted beasts and cosmic horrors looming in a vertical frame. The protagonist reflects that his journey wasn't just survival, it was war. He endured that madness so that one day he could return and wield his trauma as fuel for vengeance. Despite the torment, he clenches his glowing hand with renewed determination. He tells himself it's not over yet, he hasn't fulfilled his purpose. The blue energy coursing through his veins is a symbol of his rebirth and rising resolve. Now back in the physical world, he walks through a traditional hallway, reflecting that although his body may be free, the weight of what he witnessed lingers heavily. There's no going back, only forward toward confrontation. The final panels show terrifying entities and nightmarish overlords, the ones he plans to destroy. With grit and fire in his voice, he vows that he will rise, not as prey, but as the one who will overturn fate and bring down the very monsters that ruled over hell. A dark, misty background sets a somber and suspenseful tone. The narration declares that there is no more time for hesitation, implying that a crucial moment has arrived, one that demands immediate action and unwavering resolve. A terrifying fiery demon with glowing eyes and a monstrous snarl appears in a burst of flames. This being is likely a powerful inner entity or a fearsome memory. The visuals radiate rage and dominance, symbolizing the chaos or fury the protagonist has either faced or become. The scene transitions to the protagonist, his face now lit with a sinister red glow, his eyes burning with a demonic gleam. He stands tall and dangerous, and the narration warns of a being beyond traitor, beyond murderer. This suggests he has either been reborn into something darker or has inherited the essence of something monstrous. A quiet shift occurs as we return to a room where a door slides open. The sudden contrast from overwhelming rage to subtle motion shows a return to the present. Someone has arrived, and tension fills the air with the click of the door. A man turns and addresses the new arrival, asking if he is indeed the student who just returned. The student confirms respectfully, calling him sir. Their composed demeanor contrasts sharply with the chaos hinted at just moments ago. The elder man expresses relief and curiosity, pointing out that the student was reported missing for days. The student calmly replies that he's fine now, with a slight, confident smile. There's a sense he's holding back the full truth of where he has been. He then explains, vaguely but firmly, that he had something important to take care of. His crossed arms and focused expression suggest that the mission was personal and possibly dangerous, but also transformative. The final panel shows the elder's realization. He remembers hearing rumors about this student, rumors that connect him to significant past events involving a powerful and tragic incident. His serious gaze is mixed with awe and concern, hinting that this boy may not be ordinary at all. A confident young man greets the elder instructor, offering a courteous smile while delivering his report. He seems composed and prepared, standing upright with pride as he answers about his successful return and potential involvement in an upcoming plan. A sinister grin spreads across his face as he hints at deeper motives. The expression betrays something cunning beneath the surface. He isn't just being polite. He's clearly playing a larger game and is enjoying how events are unfolding. The scene transitions outside under a moonlit sky. The calm ambience contrasts the tension built earlier. The rooftops are bathed in cold blue light, hinting at silence and secrets moving in the shadows. The protagonist walks briskly through the temple courtyard, his robe swaying with every step. His demeanor is focused. The air is still, but every movement suggests he's headed toward something important, perhaps a critical confrontation or a premeditated act. A wider view of the building reveals the grandeur of the sect grounds. The narration reflects on the risk he took entering this place and suggests that every step within these walls is part of a delicate, dangerous plan that is finally beginning to take shape. A mysterious figure in formal attire appears. With an unreadable expression, he is introduced as someone powerful and politically positioned, possibly a leader or key strategist. He reflects on recent power shifts and his cautious observation of the new arrival who could disrupt the established balance. Inside a large chamber, a serious meeting is underway. The young man enters the room, facing several seated elders. Their stern faces show that this is no ordinary gathering. This is likely a pivotal council, and the young man's words and actions in this room could decide the fate of future events. The scene opens with a stern and commanding figure, Chin Semyung, the head of swordmanship. He coldly questions whether the request for the instructor promotion evaluation still stands, directing his inquiry with intensity and calculated authority. His words drip with challenge, as though he's setting a trap or drawing attention toward a predetermined scapegoat. The ambience in the room is tense, carrying the weight of internal sect politics. In response, the younger man, calm and composed, affirms the request with a thin smile. His tone is almost mocking as he refers to the person being evaluated as this piece of trash. Without hesitation, he openly names the accused as the one dragging the Dragon Spring Pavilion into disgrace. His confidence suggests not just personal spite, but a deeper scheme to manipulate the power structure from within. The moment closes with tension thick in the air, and the fate of the accused hanging in the balance. A man stands before the elders with his hands raised, fingers tense, revealing deep internal conflict. His posture hints at frustration and urgency, possibly trying to prove his sincerity or justify a drastic decision. The room is filled with quiet tension, and the atmosphere is heavy with the weight of impending judgment. He confesses that he made a grave mistake, though not intentionally. His words carry desperation, perhaps an appeal for mercy or understanding. The seated officials listen with unmoving expressions, showing no clear sign of whether they accept his admission or view it as another failure. The next panel shifts dramatically to a vivid memory, the day of the demon invasion. Flames engulf a peaceful town as demonic forces tear through the buildings. Panic and destruction reign, with civilians fleeing and screaming. It's clear that this traumatic event left an indelible scar on those who lived through it. The final scene shows a young boy witnessing the horror unfold. His eyes widen in terror as enormous rifts tear open reality, unleashing grotesque demonic creatures. The background is saturated in crimson and purple energy, symbolizing the chaos. One monstrous figure stands out, a towering, otherworldly invader whose arrival signifies an overwhelming and uncontainable threat. A massive rift splits open in the sky, unleashing a monstrous, spider-like demon creature. Its grotesque form and looming presence cast a shadow of dread over the battlefield, signaling the arrival of something far worse than anything previously encountered. Chaos erupts below as civilians and warriors alike are massacred by the invading demons. Blood splatters, screams fill the air, and panic spreads. This marks the beginning of a large-scale demonic invasion, which will later be known as the emergence of the demon tribe. One warrior tries to rally the frightened, shouting for everyone to escape. The burning village behind him reflects the devastation already caused. His desperation is clear. He's overwhelmed, but still trying to protect those who remain. Another demon charges forward, monstrous and terrifying in size. Its claws slice through bodies with ease, adding to the destruction. The flames surrounding it make the battlefield resemble a living hell. A young warrior, likely the protagonist, is shown looking back, eyes burning with guilt and fury. The emotional weight of that day has clearly left a scar, and he's haunted by the memory of what happened. A seasoned fighter wields his weapon with precision, protecting a group of civilians. His face is hardened, suggesting years of experience, but even he seems strained by the sheer number of demons. His defense offers a glimmer of hope amidst the chaos. The flames rage higher as entire sections of the city collapse. Structures burn, rooftops fall, and any remaining order is reduced to ash. The narrator describes it as the day the light was devoured by darkness, a poetic expression of the complete collapse. In the final scene, we see a figure walking alone through the inferno, surrounded by devastation. The narration suggests that this day was the turning point that shaped him, the moment he realized the world was no longer safe or just. It was the end of innocence and the start of vengeance. The young man, standing confidently at the head of the table, makes a bold declaration that shocks those present. His words pierce through the room with conviction, exposing a hidden truth that's been buried under authority and respectability. The man in blue tries to maintain his composure, forcing a smile as he responds. He acknowledges the situation but subtly warns the younger one that he won't forget what has just been said. The weight of his threat lingers beneath the surface of his words. The younger man smiles smugly, completely unfazed. His tone turns mocking as he calls the older man a shameless fraud, implying that his polished image is nothing more than a mask hiding filth and corruption underneath. He leans forward, addressing the entire room with sarcastic reverence. He taunts them, knowing that they've maintained silence about the truth for far too long. This moment is his rebellion, a call-out against an entire institution's hypocrisy. As he turns to leave, he names the head instructor openly, challenging his authority before walking away. His final words sting. He promises to unveil the truth about what happened during the demon invasion, hinting at a larger conspiracy being ignored. The instructor, now clearly irritated, clenches his teeth and attempts to downplay the accusations. Though he tries to maintain a calm front, it's evident that he's rattled by the confrontation, and his control over the situation is slipping. A hidden mountain stronghold is depicted beneath the night sky, establishing the secretive location of the elite special force that only a few within the Martial Alliance even know exists. Their presence is shrouded in mystery and built for highly classified operations. Two masked warriors from the unit draw their swords in perfect synchronization. Their glowing red eyes and coordinated stance suggest a deadly precision and absolute loyalty to their orders, emphasizing their elite status. A flashback transitions to the present as the young man processes the memory with a soft ugh. His expression is tense, signaling that he remembers something deeply unsettling about this unit, perhaps something that connects directly to the current events. Chun Semyung, calm yet smug, tries to dismiss the significance of the mysterious unit. He claims the situation isn't worth focusing on and redirects attention to other affairs. His deflection hints that he may be hiding his own involvement or knowledge of the incident. He continues his justification, now shifting blame by suggesting that responsibility doesn't fall on one person. He implies that the invasion was the fault of failed coordination, not any specific group. But the guilt in his eyes betrays his attempt to avoid blame. A dramatic scene unfolds showing a powerful warrior, sword glowing blue with spiritual energy, leading the charge against a demonic force. His blade clashes with an enemy in midair, lightning erupting around him, as narration explains that many risked their lives to protect others in the chaos of the night. The older instructor slams the table in frustration, furious at the younger man's casual demeanor. He accuses him of mocking the situation and calls his confidence reckless, clearly irritated by how easily the younger man handles the tension. With a calm voice, the older man announces a time limit. The deadline for the instructor assessment is 15 days. His tone is firm, intending to give the younger man limited time to prove himself worthy or be disqualified. The younger man smirks with amusement at the announcement, repeating 15 days as if the challenge doesn't faze him at all. His expression shows more intrigue than concern, clearly confident in his capabilities. Without hesitation, the young man stands up and declares that he will head out immediately. His resolve is clear. He doesn't need time to prepare or deliberate. He's ready to face the challenge head-on. The older instructor, caught off guard by the sudden departure, tries to stop him, warning that the situation is not that simple. His voice is raised, a mix of authority and desperation, but it's too late to pull back the determined challenger. Another instructor voices his agreement, saying the mission isn't something that can be rushed. He warns that even seasoned veterans have fallen during similar tasks, emphasizing the danger and the weight of the assignment. Despite their concerns, the decision is final. One of the other instructors solemnly declares that the title of assistant instructor can only be earned by surviving the assessment. The moment becomes heavy, filled with the tension of what's to come. The older instructor glares at the departing young man and bitterly declares that he won't ever be coming back. His words are laced with resentment and malice, a final curse hurled with the hope that the young man fails and vanishes from his world. Visibly taken aback, one of the bystanders questions the meaning behind the remark. There's an uneasy tension in the room as the true depth of the older man's intentions begins to surface. This mission wasn't just a test, it was a trap. The young man speeds through the forest at incredible pace, his cloak whipping in the wind. While moving, his internal monologue reveals his awareness of the older man's treachery. He refers to Chen Semyong as a despicable bastard and shows no surprise he expected sabotage. With narrowed eyes and steely resolve, he acknowledges that the man's scheme was never hidden from him. His words echo a deep familiarity with manipulation and betrayal, proving he's always one step ahead, even in hostile territory. In a quick shift, another man, likely an ally, sits in a dimly lit room and sighs with a grim look. He seems to remember something important, something that hints at an even greater challenge waiting for the young warrior ahead. A chilling realization strikes. The true threat isn't Chen Semyong. It's someone else, someone more dangerous. With a menacing grin, the man reveals the name Gujash, the leader of Outriders, marking the emergence of a formidable enemy looming just beyond the mission's horizon. A dark and powerful entity shrouded in crimson lightning reflects ominously on the young man who defied fate. He recognizes the moment that changed everything. The boys fall into the abyss, and the chaos that should have consumed him yet somehow didn't. This mysterious being acknowledges the depth of destruction unleashed during the boy's descent, but notes with grave disbelief that the boy did not perish in that cataclysm. Instead, against all odds, he emerged from the ruin alive and transformed. Others watching from a distance seem shocked to discover the truth. They murmur with unease as they realize the boy has survived something that should have obliterated any ordinary human. Whispers of disbelief circulate as the implications settle in. Back in the village, an elder in purple robes listens intently. His face twists with concern as he hears of the boy's miraculous survival. He wonders if this same reckless spirit will once again charge forward blindly, destined to stir up more chaos. On a quiet road outside the city, the young man sprints at full speed with fierce determination. Wind rips through the forest around him as he races toward a destination only he understands, one tied to the past and perhaps to vengeance. As he channels his energy mid-stride, a flash of purple flares from his feet. He mentally questions whether this place Anguim is still the same as he remembers, suggesting a haunting familiarity and deeper personal connection to what's coming. The young man soars through the misty sky, channeling a brilliant surge of violet energy beneath his feet. As he flies, he contemplates the sheer power of the individual he's about to confront, so formidable that even a mage of the fourth circle would struggle to stand against him. A confident smile plays across his lips as he comes to a conclusion. If such an opponent exists, the solution is clear in his mind. There's no hesitation, he knows what he must do to meet overwhelming power head-on. With a gust of mana-infused wind trailing behind him, he descends toward his destination. The lush landscape below stretches around jagged cliffs, and the whirling of air marks the end of his swift journey. His feet touch down with purpose. A massive stone monolith looms ahead as he approaches on foot. Its solemn presence signifies a place of great power or a pivotal moment. The shadows it casts mirror the weight of the decision he's just made. His gaze is firm, his pace steady. Looking up at the towering rock, he declares his intention to increase his mana capacity and ascend to a higher magical circle. The task is monumental, but he speaks it like it's merely a stepping stone in his path. With violet eyes glowing intensely, he affirms that the knowledge and technique needed for eighth circle magic already rest within him. All that remains is to unleash that dormant power, and soon even greater heights will be within reach. The entrance to a hidden place shimmers with a deep blue glow, swirling with magical energy. An ominous violet flame levitates at its center, guarding what lies within. This concealed gateway gives off a mystical aura, suggesting it's no ordinary location. At first glance, the surrounding rock face appears to be just an ordinary cliff. It blends into the natural environment so seamlessly that no one would suspect it hides anything more than rugged stone. But the young man, cautious yet curious, approaches it with deliberate intent. His hand reaches out, gathering a swirl of violet mana, suggesting he senses something unnatural about the area. He releases his mana toward the cliff. As it touches the rock, ripples form like waves moving through water, revealing the existence of an invisible field that distorts reality. It's now clear to him what looked like a cliff is actually a mana barrier. This illusion was designed to deceive all but the most attuned mages, hiding something powerful or sacred behind it. A sly smile appears on his face as he confirms his suspicion. This is indeed the place he's been seeking. He has found the hidden entrance masked with magic. Using his own violet mana, he begins to peel back the layers of the barrier. The swirling currents respond to his touch as he creates a doorway into the unknown space behind it. He explains that places like this concealed behind complex magical barriers are scattered throughout the central plains. They lie hidden from ordinary view, guarding secrets meant for only the worthy or powerful to uncover. The young man narrows his gaze with determination as he thinks, that's it. His confidence suggests he has confirmed the exact location or truth behind what he's been investigating. He activates his violet mana again, releasing complex arcane patterns into the air. These glowing runes shimmer with power, unlocking the next phase of the hidden structure as he moves deeper into forbidden knowledge. A narration explains the nature of the demon tribe, an ancient race of intelligent beings who reincarnate across millennia. Their presence persists like a curse, always returning in cycles to threaten human civilizations. A grand purple gate glows in a cavern, surrounded by ominous demonic energy and carved terrain. This gate isn't merely decorative, it's a functional, magical link that demons have used to invade the human world in the past. However, the demons learned that open, large-scale invasions are too risky. Direct confrontation brings too much resistance from strong human cultivators. So, over time, they shifted tactics to something more subtle. Instead of one large invasion, they prepared multiple hidden gates across various parts of the world, preparing for a massive coordinated assault without alerting human defenders in advance. The protagonist stands before one such concealed gateway, surrounded by protective magic. But now, for the first time, someone has managed to breach its defenses. He gazes upon a demon sealed in stasis, floating ominously in a magical cocoon. The seal that kept this hidden danger locked away is now broken. The protagonist unleashes a surge of magical energy, his body surrounded by intense violet and black lightning. His power explodes outward as he propels himself high into the air, showing off a combination of physical strength and high-level mana manipulation. As he ascends, we get a view of the peaceful cliffside terrain below, emphasizing the contrast between the calm landscape and the storm of power erupting above it. The rocks and peaks stand quietly, unaware of the growing threat that now stirs in their skies. Suddenly, the explosion of energy ruptures the air near the cliffs as the protagonist's power distorts space. Cracks ripple outward, and bright violet bursts tear through the atmosphere. His attack or arrival has triggered a tremor felt miles away. Far off in a forested region, a group of mysterious armored men move under the cover of night. Their sudden pause and alert expressions indicate that they've felt the mana shockwave or sensed an abnormal surge of energy from the mountain. The scene shifts to a close-up of the group tough-looking warriors, possibly mercenaries or scouts. One of them, clearly a subordinate, hesitantly addresses his captain, asking if they might have reached the wrong destination. The bald leader, exasperated, clenches his jaw and questions the information they were given. He mutters that if they were misled or if the location was incorrect, it'll be someone else's neck on the line. His frustration builds, hinting at dangerous consequences for whoever made the mistake. The bald commander suddenly senses a presence and calls out to his men to stay alert. His sharp instincts pick up on the abnormal aura in the surroundings, signaling danger is near. The tension spikes among his squad as they ready for confrontation. From behind a shadowed veil, a voice mockingly remarks on their confusion. A sinister figure emerges, his body marked by dark energy and glowing red eyes. His ominous introduction sets the tone he's here with a purpose, and it's not peaceful. The commander turns in shock as the enemy casually strolls into their encampment, showing no fear. The man's confidence is overwhelming. As he claps, sarcastically applauding them for gathering so neatly, it becomes clear he's toying with them. The soldiers react with caution, unsure of how to proceed. The enemy's mysterious power and calm demeanor have unsettled them. Their leader, despite his experience, is momentarily thrown off, unsure whether to strike or question further. The commander asks with suspicion, "Who are you?" His face is tense, eyes locked on the mysterious intruder whose arrival has thrown their plans into chaos. The pressure of the unknown figure's presence is now undeniable. Sitting high above them on a rocky outcrop, the intruder calmly introduces himself. Holding a glowing violet magic circle in one hand, he smirks arrogantly. His mana pulses ominously, making it clear he holds the upper hand and is ready to strike. The mysterious man perches atop a boulder, calm and composed, as he responds to the question with a sly grin. He repeats the word "me," as if amused by the attention he's getting, enjoying the suspense he's built up. Unleashing his mana, the man reveals a glowing purple spell circle in his palm. With a confident, almost theatrical tone, he declares himself as an instructor from the prestigious Dragon Song Pavilion, his introduction carrying weight and intent. The dramatic logo of Dragon Song Pavilion flashes, emphasizing the significance of his identity and hinting at his possible elite background. This name alone sends a wave of tension through the onlookers. The group of enemy soldiers murmurs in disbelief, confused by the name. Some question whether the Dragon Song Pavilion even still exists, doubting the truth behind the claim and whispering suspicions among themselves. The muscular commander silences his men and steps forward. With a skeptical glare, he acknowledges the man's strength but demands proof. His expression is cautious yet confrontational, trying to determine whether this opponent is truly as dangerous as he appears. The mysterious man smiles with calm confidence, his demeanor relaxed and amused. He leans on his hand and responds, "That's right," teasingly playing along with the tension and provoking further reaction from his enemies. Suddenly, one of the enemy warriors bursts forward in a rage, swinging a weapon with full force. The speed and intensity of the motion suggest he didn't appreciate the man's smug attitude and intends to silence him violently. The attacker's blade crashes down in a blazing red arc, filling the area with an explosive burst of energy. The visual chaos and raw strength behind the strike reveal the seriousness of the threat and the sheer destructive intent. The muscular warrior stands tall after the attack, glowing red energy wrapping around him. His eyes blaze with killing intent as he declares his purpose with brutal clarity: "You have to die. That's why I came." His hatred and mission are now fully revealed, setting the tone for a deadly showdown. The enemy's eyes widen in shock as he's suddenly struck in the chest by a powerful blast of violet energy. The force of the impact pierces through his defenses and sends him flying backwards in a blur. The protagonist unleashes a sweeping slash infused with magical energy, creating a glowing arc of purple light that cuts across the battlefield, aimed at overwhelming the attackers in a single stroke. The words "Mana Blade" burst onto the scene as the powerful technique lands. Chaos erupts among the enemy ranks, as several of them are struck down or forced to the ground, visibly panicked and unprepared for such a strike. The purple wave continues to ripple through the enemies, slicing across multiple foes in quick succession. Those who remain standing can barely comprehend what hit them, their expressions frozen in fear. One particularly terrified enemy stares in disbelief, sweat pouring down his face. He never anticipated this level of destruction, and the shock has rendered him motionless, clearly shaken by the display of power. A spell circle appears in the protagonist's hand as he mutters the word "charge." Energy crackles around his palm, forming a secondary attack with the same intimidating violet hue as before. The hero prepares to cast a new spell called Trice. He raises his glowing hand, eyes locked on the surviving enemies, and calmly declares that he'll take care of the rest and ensure the region's safety himself. The protagonist stands confidently, gripping a glowing purple blade infused with magical energy. His calm expression and firm stance show that he's completely in control of the situation and ready to face his opponent head-on. In a flash, the red-eyed enemy lunges forward with his own crimson energy sword, clashing directly with the purple blade. The collision creates a massive shockwave of force and light, splitting the air between them. Smirking slightly, the protagonist mocks his opponent's speed and calls it slow. His relaxed demeanor sharply contrasts with the enemy's aggressive approach, making it clear that he doesn't feel threatened. The enemy, visibly enraged and surprised, growls in frustration, demanding to know who the protagonist really is. His glowing eyes show disbelief that someone so young and calm could block his full strength attack. With a fierce explosion of energy, the two blades meet again in a thunderous burst. Cracks of red and purple lightning scatter across the battlefield, signaling that the fight is escalating to a whole new level of intensity. In the final panel, the clash reaches its peak as both fighters unleash a barrage of strikes. Explosions of light and energy ripple outward from each hit, painting the night sky with overlapping red and purple arcs, each representing their respective powers. Both fighters clash with overwhelming force, their swords emitting explosive purple and red bursts as they swing and counter each other. The sheer speed of their movements creates a chaotic storm of energy around them, lighting up the dark battlefield. The duel continues with a rapid exchange of slashes and parries, creating a dazzling spiral of energy trails in the air. Their blades collide repeatedly, leaving shockwaves of purple and crimson light crackling through the sky as they move at lightning speed. The young warrior tightens his grip and steadies his stance, his eyes burning with focus. He declares this is the perfect opportunity to test how far his power can go, indicating he's pushing his limits against this formidable opponent. The enemy is caught completely off guard by the surge of energy and the skill behind the young warrior's attacks. His shocked expression shows disbelief as he is overpowered, screaming in denial as a powerful strike blasts into him. As the young warrior drives his blade down with explosive force, he overwhelms the enemy's defense and strikes true. The narrator or internal monologue emphasizes how no one had ever pushed the enemy this far before until now, confirming that this battle has already rewritten expectations. The enemy clenches his teeth in pain, his face twisted in agony as a surge of pressure crushes him. He's struggling to contain the force overwhelming his body, and it's clear that something inside him is breaking down. A ferocious explosion of red energy erupts outward, engulfing the enemy completely as he screams in torment. The raw power coils around him like a furious storm, tearing through the battlefield with reckless intensity. The young warrior propels himself forward with a blazing strike, his mana blade glowing fiercely. His rapid advance cuts through the air like a shooting star, aimed directly at the heart of the chaos. The attack lands with thunderous force, and the red energy flares violently once more. The enemy howls in agony as he's slammed back, his body shaken by the devastating might of the heaven-crushing Emperor Heartburst Liberation technique. The enemy's eyes glow fiercely, and he roars in desperation, activating his most terrifying power. With fury boiling over, he declares his resolve to destroy everything and everyone, his body brimming with violent crimson energy. He glares up toward the warrior, now standing atop a ridge, and rages about the meaninglessness of it all. He dismisses ideals and mercy, calling them illusions as he fully embraces destruction in the name of revenge and rage. As the red aura erupts again, sharp crystals of death pierce the ground around him. His body pulsates with energy, and he mocks the righteous cause, calling it childish. With contempt and defiance, he challenges fate, ready to drag everything down with him. The enemy's eyes widen in utter disbelief as he senses something going wrong. His glowing red pupils tremble, and a question forms on his lips. Something unexpected has happened, and panic sets in. He shouts, "What?" in shock, realizing too late that the tides have shifted. His expression twists from arrogance to confusion as his surroundings begin to betray him. The hero calmly stands amidst a field of jagged blue ice crystals, his presence radiating control. Without even facing his opponent directly, he dismisses the enemy's tantrum with cold detachment, saying no one cares about his grievances. The words sting as much as the chilling aura around him, freezing wave. The enemy jerks back as a sudden energy force erupts. Purple runes spiral down toward him, forming the ethereal technique astral chain. A mystical force wraps around his limbs like a curse of judgment, locking him in place. A glowing chain formed of pure mana bursts forth and circles his torso, tightening with incredible force. The purple light overwhelms his vision, and panic turns to desperation as he struggles against the binding energy. His muscles tense and veins bulge as he grabs at the glowing chain wrapped around his body. He tries to rip it off, but the more he pulls, the more it constricts. His power is being sealed and fast, while the chilling energy continues to freeze his will. A burst of energy cracks through the air as the chained enemy is violently flung backward, smashing against the ice spikes. The hero raises his hand, summoning a glowing purple orb to finish the sealing process. The scene radiates cold justice and raw dominance. The restrained warrior groans in agony, his body trembling under the crushing magical force. His red eyes flare with pain as the energy intensifies around him, the chains digging deeper with each passing second. The enemy's body begins to twitch unnaturally as the chains tighten further. Small sparks of resistance crackle around him, but his arms remain bound helpless against the growing storm forming before him. The hero watches with unwavering focus, standing tall with his mana blade glowing. He calmly notes that the enemy's body is already too damaged for any meaningful retaliation. His words echo across the battlefield, cool and calculated. A scream of frustration tears through the silence, "No," as the enemy violently thrashes in desperation. But the effort is futile. His body is betraying him, and his spirit is beginning to break. Despite the chaos, the hero offers a cold insight. It's not that hard to make. He refers to the technique that subdued his opponent, an advanced spell that appears simple in form but devastating in execution. His tone is detached, like a teacher explaining a basic trick. Finally, the enemy clenches his jaw in rage, hissing through his teeth. His pride wounded far more than his body, he swears through gritted teeth, "Damn it." But it's clear his power, his plans, and his dominance have been completely dismantled. The hero confronts the enemy with confidence, challenging his obsession with destruction. He accuses him of being too blinded by power to understand the consequences of his own actions. The enemy, wide-eyed with fury, demands to know why the hero would even bother resisting someone like him. His disbelief grows, unable to comprehend how someone could willingly fight against such overwhelming force. We are given a flashback of the enemy's past as he recalls the betrayal of those he once trusted fellow warriors who chose to sacrifice others to survive. His bitterness is palpable, etched into his expression and tone. Another flashback shows a powerful elder stating that the weak must be used for the benefit of the strong. The enemy's ideology formed here, forged by cruel experiences and heartless teachings. The hero listens in silence as the enemy explains how these beliefs shaped his brutal path. The villain confesses that he used to think sacrificing others was necessary for strength, but now he sees that same cycle repeating, and it infuriates him. The hero suddenly chuckles, then bursts into laughter. He praises the enemy's passion and resolve but mocks how it was misdirected into blind violence. His sarcastic admiration highlights just how different their philosophies are. In the final moment, the enemy's smirk returns as he claims he has no regrets. He glares at the hero with burning eyes and warns that even now, he's not done. His voice carries a haunting promise that he still has cards left to play. The darkened figure stands silently, his ominous presence heavy in the air. A single word, coward, echoes, laced with disappointment, as if aimed directly at the enemy's very soul. The insult pierces through the tension like a blade. Emerging from the shadows with a blackened face and glowing purple eyes, the hero coldly asks, "Do I really look like that to you?" His tone is calm yet chilling, filled with menace. His transformed appearance speaks volumes. He's crossed a threshold, becoming something terrifying. The villain recoils in alarm, clearly shaken. Beads of sweat roll down his face as he stammers in disbelief. Whatever he expected, it wasn't this. The aura around the hero is unlike anything he's faced, an oppressive, dangerous calm. Purple energy crackles in the hero's hand as he offers the villain a chance to feel what he has felt. "Fine. I'll let you experience it too." There's no hesitation in his voice, only the promise of shared suffering, the kind born from centuries of torment. With an intense glare and dark aura surrounding him, the hero declares that this is the culmination of everything he's endured for 200 years. His eyes glow with righteous fury as he prepares to unleash the full force of his pain and vengeance. A sudden sound echoes through the eerie canyon as the wide-eyed undead warrior flinches. His intense expression reflects alarm, as if he senses a powerful presence approaching from the shadows. The undead warrior walks cautiously between tall, jagged cliffs. The environment is bathed in a dim purple hue, and he mutters, "Huh?" clearly disturbed by the unnatural atmosphere or something he's just noticed. He stops at the edge of a cliff, scanning the distance. His body tenses as he observes the unsettling scenery, unsure of what lies ahead. He senses that something dreadful is about to unfold, and mutters in unease about the strangeness of the place. Realizing the danger, he utters a nervous line acknowledging that his body, despite being undead, is involuntarily reacting to fear. His instincts are warning him of a terrifying presence that even his reanimated state cannot ignore. The final panel reveals the source of his dread, a massive, demonic fortress illuminated by the full moon, with red glyphs glowing ominously across its gates. The scale of the dark structure overwhelms the viewer, as an ominous howl resonates through the night, signaling the awakening of a monstrous force within. The undead warrior's expression shifts into horror as his glowing red eyes widen. Something he sees has triggered shock and fear, indicating an overwhelming force or realization beyond his comprehension. A massive explosion erupts across the landscape, engulfing everything in flames. The blast is violent and fast, creating a shockwave that signifies the arrival or activation of immense destructive power. The flames continue to spread violently, devouring structures and scorching the surroundings. The fiery destruction gives the impression of a catastrophic attack, wiping out anything in its path. As the explosion settles, screams echo through the snowy battlefield. Survivors, if any, are shown in a state of panic or agony as the hellish scene unfolds under a sky filled with smoke and despair. A burning corpse writhes among the rubble, its body contorted in pain as the flames consume it. The entire panel emphasizes the mercilessness of the force that was unleashed. Inside a dark lab, green glowing tanks flicker as chaos echoes through the corridors. The sudden outburst seems to have reached even this distant and isolated place, shaking the stability of a mysterious experiment. A sharp blue eye opens wide in shock or realization, reflecting an emotional surge. Whether it's a vision, awakening, or reaction to the destruction, the eye conveys urgency and alarm. Finally, an army of monsters or undead surges forward in chaos. A flaming demonic figure screams with rage, and a monstrous mouth opens in a deafening roar, symbolizing that hell itself has been unleashed on the world. The undead creature screams in agony, clutching its head with both hands as its red eyes bulge with terror. Whatever it is seeing or experiencing is unbearable, driving it into a frenzied breakdown that hints at intense psychological torment. Another undead writhes and collapses on the ground in visible distress. Black smoke trails from its body, and it groans in pain, unable to withstand the overwhelming force that just struck it down. The man, standing tall and steady, breathes heavily while watching the aftermath unfold. His composed yet tired expression suggests that the technique he used took effort, but he is calm enough to assess the damage with cool detachment. He questions his opponent mockingly, asking how the experience felt. His cold and precise tone implies that he expected this outcome and was merely testing the limits of the other's mind or body. A close-up of the undead's trembling hand shows it twitching uncontrollably on the ground. The fingers spasm as if trying to claw back to control, but it's clear the body is on the verge of collapse, driven by fear and exhaustion. Without hesitation, the man walks over and firmly grabs the creature by the face, forcing it upward. The gesture isn't out of mercy, it's dominant, imposing, and meant to instill dread in the already broken opponent. Barely able to speak, the creature utters a shaky plea, kill, begging for death, rather than enduring whatever torment it just experienced again. The man watches silently, his expression unreadable, perhaps contemplating whether to grant the wish or deliver something even worse. The disfigured undead creature continues to plead with desperation in its voice, eyes bulging and mouth wide open as it begs for death. Its pain is unbearable, and it no longer clings to life, only seeking release from its torment. The young man, visibly disturbed, hesitates. The weight of what he must do is heavy, and though he turns away, the undead's pleas haunt him. His expression is conflicted as he mutters he can't watch any longer, showing his inner turmoil. With determined steps, he walks forward, sword drawn, shoulders stiffened by the burden of duty. He knows what's coming, he's the only one who can carry it out, and despite his emotional hesitation, he chooses resolve. As he prepares to swing the blade, red narration bubbles highlight the moral cost of the act. Still, someone has to do it, echoes his inner resolve. He grips his sword tightly, ready to grant mercy through bloodshed. A swift, clean slash cuts through the darkness, and blood splatters across the screen. The deed is done, final, irreversible. The silence that follows is deafening, filled with the echo of moral consequence. A distant view of the house under moonlight provides a stark contrast to the brutality before, suggesting that even in peaceful surroundings, grim realities persist just out of sight. The bloodshed may be hidden, but its impact lingers. Inside the house, a man reacts with urgency and confusion. His face turns pale with panic, shouting, "No way!" clearly responding to a sudden, alarming event. The final panel shows someone forcefully bursting through the door, marking a new threat's arrival or a dramatic shift in the situation. A calm but inquisitive atmosphere fills the room as a man dressed in formal attire addresses his companion, asking what he thinks. His expression is composed, but it's clear the question holds significance, possibly relating to the outcome of a recent mission or report. The younger man responds sharply, suggesting that the target should have been eliminated rather than brought back. His narrowed eyes and clipped tone reveal his dissatisfaction, as he believes a more decisive, permanent action should have been taken. The man in charge doesn't argue. Instead, he gives a subtle smile and affirms the decision to handle things from here on out. His words imply a shift in responsibility or authority, signaling the beginning of a more secretive or tightly controlled plan under the name Special Division. A beautiful daylight scene transitions the tone, showing a grand building bathed in sunlight. The setting contrasts sharply with the previous darkness, suggesting that the focus is now shifting to a different location, perhaps a headquarters or place of political importance. Inside this structure, a muscular officer slams the table, declaring the division's activation. His outburst catches attention, and it's clear he's frustrated or confused by the directive. The panel identifies him as 1st Division Captain Ye Woonjin, signaling that the announcement may disrupt the established command hierarchy. Another officer sits beside him, remaining calm and observant. He addresses the situation with calculated neutrality, acknowledging the decision but hinting that their authority may be bypassed. This man is introduced as 2nd Division Captain Inbyok, likely someone with a more strategic or diplomatic mindset. An officer sternly questions the purpose of activating the Special Division, voicing his disapproval with an intense glare. He is identified as 3rd Division Instructor Duong Yunyo, and his tone suggests he feels blindsided and disrespected by the sudden restructuring of authority within the ranks. The scene cuts to a battlefield strewn with bodies under a night sky. A man solemnly looks over the carnage, reflecting on the brutality. His serious gaze indicates he's grappling with the consequences of the events that unfolded and possibly his own role in them. The man's inner monologue continues, his face tense with frustration. He expresses confusion and distress about the situation, suggesting he wasn't prepared for the outcome and feels something went terribly wrong despite his intentions. Suddenly, a cadet yells, "Instructor," in a panic. The scene shifts to a gruesome image of a bloodied, mutated corpse, likely a former human. The cadet's alarmed shout and the horrific state of the body highlight the chaos and horror of the battlefield aftermath. Inside the briefing room again, another officer accuses the cadet of deliberately withholding information. His sharp tone implies that the cadet's silence could have worsened the situation, while the room's atmosphere turns increasingly tense. A different senior officer raises his voice, backing up the accusation and asking why the cadet didn't speak up earlier. The heated exchange shows how blame and frustration are beginning to spread among the leadership, fracturing their unity. The cadet apologizes nervously, lowering his head. Meanwhile, a silent but powerful presence looms as Deputy Branch Leader Chen Jiohyun sits with folded hands, observing everything. His unreadable expression suggests deep contemplation or concealed judgment. A senior officer narrows his eyes in frustration as he questions why a certain monstrous transformation occurred under their watch. His voice is laced with suspicion, clearly hinting that someone might be hiding something crucial about the incident. The scene flashes to a gruesome memory, a man surrounded by eerie red energy, his body twisted and overwhelmed by dark power. This haunting image reflects the unnatural transformation he underwent, reinforcing the officer's fears about demonic energy and possession. Continuing the interrogation, the officer expresses doubt that such a transformation could happen naturally. He speculates whether this was a premeditated case of internal corruption, implying that a deeper conspiracy might be unfolding within their ranks. As he continues to analyze the situation, another instructor, visibly sweating, tries to make sense of the events. He recalls seeing signs of strange behavior, but is unsure if it could have led to something so extreme, revealing his inner turmoil and guilt. Instructor Nodala is called out, pulling him from his thoughts. The tension in the room sharpens as he's asked to speak up and clarify what he observed. His subtle nod and nervous expression indicate that he has something important to say. He confirms the presence of a mysterious unit referred to as the Ghost Shadow Unit that might be connected to the case. The narration box explains this squad operates covertly and is tasked with assassination and intelligence collection under direct command. The camera returns to the roundtable discussion as someone reacts in shock, asking if the attack was orchestrated by this elusive Ghost Shadow Unit. The idea sparks deeper concern among the officers, suggesting that the danger might be coming from within their own organization. One of the instructors speaks up confidently, telling the others not to worry because he already has his own list prepared. His tone suggests that he's taken proactive steps to monitor and evaluate the students independently. The other instructor looks surprised and confused as a paper is handed to him. His brows furrow slightly, clearly unsure of what he's about to see or why it's being presented now. As he opens the document and reads through the contents, his expression shifts to one of shock and disbelief. The sudden tension in his eyes and stiffened posture reveal that the information is both unexpected and serious. Another man jumps up in astonishment, exclaiming in disbelief at what he sees. He asks how such a document was compiled, amazed by the accuracy and foresight of the list, clearly recognizing its value. The instructor who handed over the list chuckles with a calm demeanor, noting that it's just a rough draft. Yet beneath his relaxed tone is an air of confidence that everything is going exactly as he intended. Looking around the room, another instructor points out that if things continue at this pace, they might face a rebellion or worse chaos from students who have connections with powerful backgrounds. The weight of the situation is beginning to show. Meanwhile, outside on the stone steps, a female warrior walks with firm resolve. She discusses their plan, stating that they need to make a move before the instructor finds out, implying that something is already in motion behind the scenes. She grips her weapon and asks what should be done if the instructor opposes their actions. A confident figure dressed in a maroon uniform walks swiftly across the stone courtyard, remarking with disdain about the elders' predictable behavior. He expresses frustration that they are so easy to manipulate, boasting that all they needed was to show the bait and everything went exactly as expected. He continues his internal monologue, criticizing the elders for their slowness and rigidity. His sharp eyes and slight smirk reveal both amusement and contempt as he marvels at how they never deviate even slightly from his calculations. As he looks over the courtyard, he reflects on his role and why he's even here at this institution. He acknowledges that this place, despite its traditions, is the most efficient tool he has to prepare for the looming catastrophe. His expression grows more solemn, indicating deeper plans beneath the surface. Quick flashes of ominous imagery follow: an ancient prophecy, a wide staring eye, and an old female warrior, all symbolic warnings of the coming danger. He ponders seriously on what preparations must be made to confront the demonic invasion he clearly believes is imminent. Standing in a darkened space, he begins conjuring an ominous purple aura in his hand, preparing his forbidden technique. He declares that if the instructors won't take proper action, he will take it upon himself to protect the world, even if it means going against the establishment and striking from the shadows. A group of figures in uniform surrounds the man in maroon, who now stands at the center with an aura of dark energy coiling around him. His serious expression reflects a growing resolve as he states that what's ultimately needed to fight against the coming demonic threat isn't authority, but the strength to act independently. He glances down at his feet, emphasizing that true countermeasures won't come from following tradition, but from stepping into the gray areas others fear. He subtly rejects the conventional training system, implying that the real battlefield demands more than rules can offer. Standing before a mass of students in training uniforms, he surveys them with calculated intent, These aren't just any students, they are the misfits and outliers. He's already handpicked the ones he believes can be molded into the warriors he needs. Among the crowd, his eyes pick out specific faces. These are first-year students who have been branded as problem kids, those who don't follow the academy's strict codes and have been written off by others. One of them stands alone, a rebellious glare in his eyes. He looks like someone who resents authority and isn't afraid to show it. His stance speaks of quiet defiance, making him an ideal candidate for unconventional tactics. Another student, calm and composed, leans casually against a tree. His long hair and unreadable expression suggest depth and experience beyond his years, someone not easily controlled, but potentially powerful. A third figure, young and energetic, looks around with an eager curiosity. Though underestimated, there's a spark of ambition in his eyes, the kind that can be dangerous or brilliant depending on how it's guided. In a wide shot, the entire group of misfit students is shown again, standing together with casual postures and skeptical expressions. Their nonconformity is clear, and it's this raw potential that intrigues the man observing them. He challenges the notion that others expected him to fail at handling them. With conviction, he hints that within these so-called troublemakers lies the dormant power to surpass expectations, if only they are guided properly, perhaps even becoming stronger than the current elite. A powerful figure emerges with a glowing twin-blade stance, radiating intense blue energy. Identified as the Heavenly Sword Alliance leader, he stands alone in a blizzard-like battlefield, his aura slicing through the chaos. His legacy carries weight, having once fought and led against overwhelming odds in humanity's darkest hours. Flashes of past glory follow as another legendary warrior is introduced, the demon-slaying divine archer. With arrows infused in divine power, he charges through the snowstorm, raining destruction on demonic foes. Both heroes are revered as humanity's last line of defense, now reunited in the same space for the first time in years. A younger man grins with sharp confidence, introducing himself as the new instructor. His playful expression contrasts his legendary reputation, making it clear he won't follow conventional teaching methods. The revelation shocks the onlookers. This isn't just another teacher, it's a myth reborn in the flesh. He stands tall before his students, stating that starting today, he will be their guide. The narrator closes with a dramatic note: the last two heroes of humanity have gathered in one place, hinting at the monumental events to come.